Also anything around payments. So we serve various groups of customers from the banking sector to the microfinance and also the stock exchange. We have also worked with insurance companies as well to provide solutions for different use cases. So today the topic is how do you use digital finance to promote customer centricity? So customer centricity is a very broad topic, depending on which context you would, or which direction you would want to go. But again, for the sake of this discussion and this conference, because we are the Tanzania Financial Services Expo, so the focus will be on the financial services industry. I think we are still trying to work technology here. It's failing us. Okay, so there it is. So that's the topic for this presentation. So we'll try to put customer centricity in the context of the financial industry and how best financial institutions can look at it as a driver for bringing in more revenue and also more customers. So by definition, well, it's like I said earlier, customer centricity is a very broad term, but in simple terms, it's the practice of putting your customer at the core of your business, while giving them the best customer experience when you deliver your products and services to them. So to that end, if you do that and you combine that with CRM, the customer relationship management, you can then get a chance to have a 360 view of your customer and understand your customers better from different angles. And with that, you can design products that are really customer-centric, customer-focused. Because if you don't understand that, then you will be a product-centric organization. And with that, you are not going to be very successful because you'll be pushing the wrong products to the wrong groups of people. And once you understand the needs, it's easy to do campaigns. It's easy to know their geolocation. It's easy to personalize campaigns. Like I said, you could also cultivate your brand loyalty, and you can proactively engage with them. It gives you an opportunity to increase your cross-sell, upsell opportunities. Because you know these guys better and you know what they want precisely. So sometimes I think a lot of us in this room, you have experienced what I do experience sometimes. You would get a marketing message maybe from your financial institution or from whatever company trying to sell you something that's not even of interest to you. You are a student, maybe like a first-year student or a second-year student in college, and someone is trying to sell you a mortgage product, you know. And the reason for that is because organizations don't try to understand who they're selling stuff to. and they don't use the right technology. Instead, they just push products to the market and expect for it to work. So here, we're just going to talk about current customer needs. And again, customers in the context of the financial sector. We try to group them into 5 different categories of what customers need. We put that in context with some of the solutions that G-Mobile provides to the sector. So when I go to a bank, or most of us go to a financial institution, or you bank with someone, the idea is for you to have end-to-end solutions. You don't want to have a savings account here, and then you have a checking account somewhere else, and then you get your insurance next door. So when you go to a particular provider, you want to have end-to-end solutions. And that will give you superior experience and make you want to stay with that institution. Since yesterday, when we were here talking about different topics, we looked at some of the most amazing technologies from around the world. We had guys from Israel, we had guys from all over the place, all with some really cool stuff, I must say. But in the end, the creators of those products, they're not necessarily the consumers of those products. You would need customers. And that's why it's important. Even the organizers, invited me to talk about this customer centricity, because at the end of the day, it's about the customer, it's about their needs, it's about transparency as well, like what it says there. So of the 5 things that we identified, transparency was one of them. If I go to a provider, I want to get the superior experience. They also want to be transparent with me. All the charges explained, black and white, no surprises. You also want to get customized solutions tailored to your specific needs. But it's difficult to do that if you don't understand my needs. You don't understand my spending habits, my buying habits. Once you have all the data, then again, you should be able to look at me as a customer in a different angle and offer me some products that are relevant to me. And sometimes I don't have to ask for those products. There are some companies in the world that do that really well, give customers what they don't necessarily ask for, but then when you're presented with that opportunity, you feel like this is something that you have always wanted. Look at Apple is doing that. Amazon, very good examples. So these are the people that truly believe in customer centricity. And they take it very serious, by the way. I'll give you an example. So there's a company called Zappos. I'm not sure if any one of you have heard of them. Anybody buy shoes online? Yeah? So those guys, they have a pretty strong customer centricity policy. And for employees that don't abide to that, they can fire you in a flash. Okay? That's how serious it is. So why does this matter? Why should financial service providers promote customer centricity in their strategies? Before I talk about the first point, I understand that today the trend is to go digital, right? Everybody's talking about going digital this, digital that. But before you have a digital native strategy, if I say, you have to have a customer centricity strategy in place. Otherwise, you will have some digital products that don't even identify to your customers. I'll give you an example. So here we say, why should financial institutions do this? So number one is to establish some cost-saving opportunities. Cost-saving opportunities to who? To your customers, to the institution itself. Because if you know me better, if you know my spending habits, my savings habits, it's easy for you to define some cool products around my needs. And then since you know my behavior as a customer, you can also give me that service at a cost-effective, in a cost-effective manner. Okay. You can also identify opportunities for growth. Once you have, somebody yesterday was talking about, financial institutions here in our country. They're sitting on massive amounts of data, and they're not sure what to do with it. They might know what to do with it, but not sure what to do with it. So with that, with data analytics and these new technologies that we have in place, you can identify opportunities for growth. You can see who to offer what, and go from there. You can also evolve yourself as with a differentiated service to sort of give yourself a competitive advantage in the market because you're more informed about your customers. And in the end, we feel like a company that fosters this kind of culture, you can build a very productive company culture. Because customer centricity, in the end, like I said before, is not about offering great customer service. Okay, so it goes beyond that. As far as understanding your customer, offering what they need in a cost-effective way. I'm going to give you a few case studies here in East Africa, since we live here. And so this morning, there was a gentleman from the World Bank who presented what the World Bank does, and he had some interesting initiatives there where World Bank participated in some good projects in Tanzania. So the first case study that we want to talk about briefly is, so it's around customer centricity. How MNOs, the mobile network operators, bridge the gap and raise some sort of competition with the banks through mobile money, as we know it, for us who are from here, by focusing on customer centricity. So one thing they did, which I think it was also supported by the World Bank, interoperability, 2014, 2015. So there was a World Bank monetary policy statement that was put out in June 2018. And it talked about, during the period of 2017 to April 2018, just that period, the utilization of interoperability capabilities in mobile money services, it grew by 80%. It grew to 80.7 million transactions. That's a lot of transactions with over 3 trillion shillings. And it represented a staggering 104.7% in volume and 78.9% in value compared to the corresponding period of 2016-2017. So for those of you who remember well, back in the days, if I am using a Tigo line and I'm trying to send money to somebody who uses Airtel, for example, it was not only a mission, but it was impossible. You couldn't do that. Then you have to ask that person, hey, can you get a Tigo line? Is it possible? Can you do it quick? For you to just send a few shillings to them. But then when this came into play, we saw the use of mobile money grew by a staggering number, which is, so these guys sat and figured that, if we offer something around customers' needs, it will create some value. And and bring in some more revenue. And that's exactly what happened. There was an interesting study that was done by Deloitte and Touche. They said companies that practice this customer centricity strategy, their revenue grew by 60% just by starting to do this. But it's not easy. You can't do it in one day. You have to have steps. But it just shows you how important it is to offer your products and services around what customers want. And then another case study. So I'll talk about microlending just very briefly for the sake of time. So most of us in this room, I'm assuming we're from around here or from Africa or East Africa. Okay, so we are very conversant with microlending. It's an initiative. Well, nowadays even the fintech companies do it, but telcos, they've done it really well, especially in Tanzania and Kenya. So it's a practice of giving small loans through mobile phones to mobile phone subscribers. So if you go to Airtel, for example, they've got, what is it called again? Timiza. You go to Vodacom, they've got Empower. But Empower is not available to everyone. It's only for their customers. And for the simple, well, there are some technology reasons behind it, but one of the reasons is they know their customers really well, and they know their needs. How do they know that? So they use some machine learning technologies, they look at your transaction history, they look at your phone spend, all these things to come up with a score and understand what you might be able to pay back if they offer you a loan. So that's just an example. But then, now we have disruptions. So we have got some tech companies like G-Mobile that came up with applications. So they're not USSD based, they can be, but they're purely apps whereby one can just apply for a loan, and within 5 minutes, you get your scoring done and you get a loan offer. And the money can be pushed to any mobile money account or a bank account, it depends. And you take it from there. Then you have like 60 days to pay your 10,000 shillings. And if you look at the trend, it's working. It's interesting, I did an article on I think it was on The Guardian, if not Financial Times, on microlending sometime mid last year. And when we were doing some research for the article, we went to one of the MNOs here, I wouldn't mention names, and you look at the transactions that are going through the MFS, the financial services unit, versus the voice unit. I mean, it's amazing. So that just tells you, what can be done with the right amount of data and knowing your customer needs. It's just amazing. In other countries, I'll just talk about Kenya briefly. So with those guys, I mean, we see the stats all the time with this mobile money success stories. So in 2017, so they've taken it to a notch up. In 2017, it was 80% of their GDP went through M-Pesa. The reasons for that, again, you could argue could be many, because it's only M-Pesa and then there are other little players. But again, you can see how powerful this can become. Just wanted to share with you some stats, and this is from the Tanzania, the TCRA, the communications regulator. It just shows some numbers here in our country. The market share percentage of the mobile money players as of March 2018. So Vodacom is leading the pack, with 43%. Then you have Tigo, Airtel Money, and the rest. So this also presents an opportunity for financial institutions to tap in into this micro-lending business, or the micro-lending business that's based on the alternative lending concept, whereby you use alternative sources of data to score people for credit, as opposed to the traditional way of doing it. That's not working very well. We all know it. So with customer centricity, again, once you understand your customers better, you have enough information, you can actually lower your cost of doing business. You can lower, I know there is a topic here where later on we'll be talking about the non-performing loans. You will have a chance to do that because you would have enough information to do that. Another success story on customer centricity. So I want to share with you a story from USAA, which is a diversified financial services company from the US. Some of the stuff they did, it's not rocket science, okay? It's not magic. It's the same stuff that we could do here in this region, and also record some massive numbers. So it starts in 2015. The company, their total revenue exceeded 24 billion by practicing customer centricity. And in 2018, there was an increase of 30 billion. So that's 3 years later, 6 billion more. Amazing, right? So they have taken a customer-centric approach to innovation by providing innovative services, personalized services to their customers. And their approach was, so the first thing they did was they had a mobile app, which is iOS and Android enabled for users to have access to their accounts, and they put in some cool features, like voice commands. You know, you say it and it happens, yeah? And facial recognition technologies. So you look at the camera, you blink, then you log in to access your account. So that was one, and it created some cool customer experience. And people wanted to work with these guys. Customers wanted to work with them. They also did another thing, which I think it's sort of cool. Most of us in this room, I must admit, personally, I have an issue with this. You know, sometimes you have lots of data on your phone, like pictures and personal data and lots of details and saved passwords, to the point where you can't receive messages or you can't log into some applications because of that. And for some of us in offices, you have to call the IT guy, like, hey, what is happening? I can't log into this. So the problem could be your device. So these guys created an extra layer of security. When that happens, you get an alert. Yeah, like, hey, you need to clean the clutter for you to continue to use the service. Can you imagine something like that brings about very good customer experience, superior customer experience, to the point where people felt really connected, looked after, cared for, you know? And that's what customers need. They need to have a sense of security working with you. They want to understand that you are protecting them. You're protecting the information. It's a very, very big thing. So this is the end. I just put a concluding remark there. You know, just sort of an advice for financial service providers in the room in Tanzania, in this region. In order for them to deliver innovative solutions to their customers, you need to give them a digital experience that resonates well with their needs. Don't just give them a mobile app. We see that a lot. It's a digital strategy. Yeah, let's have a mobile app. What does the mobile app do? Same thing as the branch does. Cash in, cash out, buy airtime, pay your bills, and that's it. But nobody's talking about having a feature-rich mobile app whereby you have some value addition to it, like where customers can set goals for their investments, for example. They can get advice for the investment, and also they can monitor the progress over time. So these are the differentiators that you can give your customers. And to that end, I come to the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for listening.